welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited. We just finished filming part 5 of the Disney inspired looks. So take a second and take a look at all of the colors that I used. Now tell me, who do you think inspired this week's look? Take a moment and take a guess in the comments down below of which Disney princess inspired this look. Now we're still on the Disney princesses, but we will move on from that soon and I'll let you guys know when. So if you want to see who inspired this look and how I put it together, keep on watching.
Alright, so I already have my face done and my eyebrows ready. So I'm going to go ahead and generate our next princess right here. Let's see who we get. Alright, I'm excited. I've been waiting for this princess. My mom keeps asking me when I'm going to do her. So I got Rapunzel. Take a look at her nice yellow gold blonde hair, her kind of a purpley pink dress, and her eyes are super vibrant in this picture too, so I'm going to take that green into consideration too. I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to do now. Super excited. Alright, so I chose this Ace Beauty Vintage Dawn palette, and I'm going to use these colors right here. So this super bright yellow gold, this more of a traditional gold, and I'm actually going to use that yellow that you see there as well. I'm going to use the Morphe by Jaclyn Hill palette, and I forgot which one this is, but it's the purple tones, and I'm going to use this kind of like dark mauve color. It's in this shimmer shade that I pointed to. I actually ended up not using it. I thought I would need it to lighten the shade. And I'm going to use the Morphe by Kathleen Lights palette. This one's a little bit older, but I'm going to take that green you see right there, and I'm going to use that for that pop of green that I see in her eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and dip into this Jaclyn Hill palette. I'm going to use that light mauve as my transition shade. Taking that with this large fluffy brush into the crease. And I'm just going to evenly bring that back and forth on my crease. Nothing too precise, just trying to create a base right there. Moving on to the Vintage Dawn palette, I'm going to start off with that really, really light yellow gold that you saw in the beginning with this fluffy angled brush to really get into that contour of my inner corner. And I'm just going to take that in that inner third of my eyelid. I'm also bringing that in the inner third of my lower lash line as well, and making that my inner corner highlight. Okay, moving on to that next color. I'm actually going to use that yellow I was talking about as a base for the center of my lid, just to make that gold, that traditional gold, more vibrant. So just using that yellow as a base, and now I'm dipping into the traditional gold, and I'm going to layer that right on top. Just layering that a couple of times until I get the vibrancy that I'm looking for. Now moving on to the lower lash line, I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did on the top lash line, where I start with that yellow base, and then I'm going to layer on that traditional gold on top, just in the center of my lower lash line. Alright, now I'm going into that dark mauve color that we saw in the Jaclyn Hill palette with this smaller fluffy brush, just so it's a little bit more precise, but I do want to kind of blow it out a little bit. I'm drawing it upward towards the end of my eyebrow from the outer corner of my eye to lift my eye, and then just buffing it, well, not buffing it, but just brushing it out until the color disperses where I'd like it to go. So it's just on that outer corner. I'm keeping the darkness of it on the outer part of my eye and just slowly bringing it in the crease towards the inner corner so that the color transitions. But I'm focusing this color on the outer portion of my upper lid. I'm also taking it the same way I did with the other colors down on the outer corner of my lower lash line, making it as if it was continuous from the upper lash line. So now I'm going back into that original light color mauve that we used for our transition shade, and I'm just kind of buffing out the harsh lines of the crease color and just softening it up a little bit. Not too much, just a little bit. And then increasing the color on my lower lash line just so it stands out as much as I'd like it to. And then I'm just taking a second to go back into all of the colors, all of the golden colors, to brighten them back up because they've lost some of their intensity. Just a little bit more, nothing too crazy. So now here I'm taking, technically this is a concealer brush, but just looking for a brush that's really, really thin, and I'm dipping into that green that was in the Kathleen Lights palette. And I'm going to use this as eyeliner. However, I do have a wet napkin on the side, so I'm actually swirling this brush on the wet napkin before I dip it into the color, just to enhance it, but not too wet, so it's not like liquid eyeliner. I just want to make the color come across a little bit more vibrant, and I'm just creating a green eyeliner across my top lash line. So I'm going to do the same thing on my lower lash line, but you have to remember we already have color there, so you have to be very, very careful. So I'm putting this directly on my lashes in the same way that I did on the top lash line. It's directly on my lashes just to add a hint of color but not lose what we had. And now that I've done that, I'm moving on to this mascara. I'm just putting it on the way that I normally do. The first coat, you wiggle and turn the brush at the same time, and you'll see that here. Did do 2 coats of this on my lashes. What I like to do is after I do the first coat on my lashes, I move to the other eye to let the mascara sit for a bit, and then I go in with the second coat afterwards to give that lengthening that I'm looking for. Okay, I'm just taking a second to use my powder brush to brush off the fallout from the green eyeshadow. Time for the rest of our face, so we're going to use this Too Faced highlight. It's a pearly pink highlighter. I was just talking to my mom there, but anyways, I'm just going to highlight the tops of my cheekbones, the bridge of my nose, and my Cupid's bow. I'm also using the same highlight to just gently highlight underneath the brow bone with a small kind of pencil brush. So now dipping into the Tarteist Pro Glow palette, I think this is number 3. I'm going to use this mauve pink blush. And I'm not going to do it too intense, but I am going to dip into it a couple of times. I start off on the apples of my cheeks and then bring it back towards my temples. now I'm using this Hoola bronzer. And I'm going to take a little bit more of a densely packed brush and taking it into the contours of my cheeks, into my temples, and on my jawline, as if I were contouring, but I'm not doing it too precisely. Just adding some color to my face. The reason I'm using a more densely packed brush is because this Hoola bronzer is lighter than the one that I used in my previous video. So a more densely packed brush kind of gives me more pigment. Now I'm going to use this mauve-y, you see a theme coming here, mauve. So this is a mauve colored lip pencil. And I'm going to actually fill in all of my lips. I'm sorry I'm a little out of frame here. I didn't realize that you couldn't see it. But I will lift up in just a second. Just lining all of my lips and filling it in. And I'm going to use this as a base before I put a lipstick on. I'm taking this, this is from the brand Mellow, and it's like a neutral purple tone, and I'm using this on top of my lip liner. Not too much there, and we're done. Alright, I added some earrings to this look because if we're doing Rapunzel, I figured that these earrings kind of give that look that we're going for the star, or the sun, I mean. Well, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Take a second to make sure you subscribe below. Thanks. See you next time.